Winners Talking podcast. And quickly, before we get into this, man wants to let you know that we got the Manscaped Lawnmower 4.0. Game changer. Shout out Manscaped for the care packages, and we just wanted to let you know that if you use the code WINNERS, you get 20% off all your grooming needs. Not only are they got the landscape
and free shipping as well.
The free shipping. Trust me, I lie, fam.
No lie.
And not only they got the lawnmower, they got grooming products, they got facial products, they got
everything.
You see t-shirt,
man, them
boxes.
should be taking care of themselves.
And so, brothers, like we're really big on this right now. Look after yourself, take care of your, you know what I'm saying, your bits and bobs and whatnot. Keep it trim, keep it nice, keep it lawned up. You get me?
All of you man have all purchased now, Every man's
patting a lie.
Every man's nice now, like Rex. What you say? It made a difference. You got yourself extra couple centimeters out of that. Yeah. Come on.
Centimeters, you know.
Manscaped 4.0.
Listen, stop losing inches and gain centimeters with the Manscaped 4.0 thing. You don't know where it is.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Winners, cold winners.
Winners, 20% off beard oil, all of that. They got beard thing going on.
Plus free shipping.
Winners Talking.
You rolling? Come on now. Listen, Winners Talking podcast. Before we get into anything, take a moment, like, subscribe. A lot of people are watching and not subscribing to the channel. Subscribe to the channel, support the thing. Tell a friend. Tell a friend to tell a friend. It's the realest, it's the truth. We're here for the bros them. We're here for the females them. It's for the people, by the people. It's the hustler, Pound Sterling, Big Dougie Doug. And my special guest today, my guy, you might have seen him telling some stories in the car. You might have seen him just around the end. You might have seen him through the years just local. You know them ones? My guy Hitz. Hitz has got one of the best storytelling platforms. Like where he tells stories from the past and of people that you may have heard of and of things that have gone on in his life and life experiences. Yeah? So welcome, my bro.
What's going on, Doug? What's going on, Pounds?
Yeah, they are. And also, alcohol's been removed today as Hitz is a man of faith, he's a Muslim, and respectfully, all alcohol's been removed from the tables today, respectfully, as we should. No, nice. Always love, my bro. So what are you saying to me, my bro? Good to have you here.
Yeah, I'm good, man. I just got here, literally started raining as soon as we landed.
Yeah.
Man. I got kind of wet still. But with the alcohol thing, I always say when I go on a podcast, I always tell the people I can't have alcohol on the platform. The reason is a saying from Prophet Muhammad about being in the presence. Even like we can't, as Muslims, we can't even really be around alcohol because he actually spoke about in particular alcohol being on the table. And you as a Muslim being around it. Obviously, I respect everyone's got their own faiths, but that's my thing, innit? You understand what I mean? So
come on.
So love for that still.
It's nothing but a word, bro. It's nothing but a word. It's important to respect all the beliefs and opinions of the guests that are on. And you're man's guest, bro. So as such, man has to accommodate. You get it?
Still.
Yeah. So we're in here. It's good to have you here, bro. We have enough conversations behind the scenes. We chat on the phone and we're here, but it's good to sit down and celebrate what you're doing as well and bring more awareness to what you're doing and let the people them see the man them sitting down and have a reasoning. You get it? So talk to me, bro. Just give a little of your background first for the people them to know about you. For those that don't know about Hitz.
I'll keep it short because obviously there's podcasts out there, a few of them still.
Yeah. Come on.
So man grew up in Reading in the 90s still, but we came from a part of town that's by the centre, and we used to have the old football ground there. And if anyone knows about the Reading Football Club, they've always kind of played Division 1 and 2.
Yeah.
I think they've done the Premier League for a couple of seasons.
Yeah, they had a little run.
Yeah, they had a little run.
Flat back down.
But what that created, I'm skipping forward now sort of thing.
Yeah.
So the hooligans and the racist breads to come through our ends. So we grew up with like blatant racism, like in your face. Me and my brother were talking about it the other day, and he was actually saying, "But it must have been peak for you, because like we're literally right next to the football club. So every like Wednesday night when there's a game in the evening, they walk through the ends. So like growing up where we grew up, we didn't have like a big Asian community, like a very small Asian community, a little masjid that them terrace houses, little ones. That was our local little, and that kind of whole block was like our ends. So growing up, my first memories are really about racism. Being called, I don't know if you man use the words on there, but being called the P word standard. Man would drive past our park, like 10 years old, say, yo, go home. And them things there.
You can speak freely, bro. If there's words you want to say, you can say them on there.
Yeah,
still.
cool. Some platforms, obviously, you get me? So boom now. So I kind of grew up in an environment where we kind of secluded. Like, just in our ends, we didn't really, like, go out of the area and stuff like that. We stayed where we were young still, 10, 11, whatever. So as we're growing up, I went to a school with my brethrens, and we ended up I got kicked out in the first year of secondary school. So imagine now I've got sent to a school, an all-white school, coming from experiencing racism anyway. Now I've gone into like an all-white school between like two council type areas.
Yeah, in the 90s as well.
The first day I walked in school, man called me a Packy. Literally, I was walking up the stairs, he goes, like, "Oi, Packy, what you doing?" Something like that. And obviously we start scuffling on the spot. I think this is either my first day, second day, like around them times. So like growing up like that, it makes you kind of a certain way, innit? Like for example, when I was a youth, I still love football, but because of them type of actions, I felt out of love with football completely. Man don't support England, and as I'm growing up now, because I'm linking racism with football.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
And that's a real thing.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a real thing.
So and remember the thing that kind of like baffled me is some of these people that were giving racist abuse were like 30, and we're like 10, 11, 12, 13, and they had no shame, and they would tell you go back to your own country, whatever. So you see, when I hear people talk about racism, I'm like, bro, have you really experienced racism? Like you don't know that enough stories I could go into,
Big
like
facts.
prison, whatever, whatnot. And we're gonna get into them still. So anyway, going to this school now, school's just racist, like blatantly racist. So, but remember, I've come from an area now we kind of like fighting as kids. So I'm not having it, but there's only so much one Asian youth's gonna do, and there's only so much I can do by myself. So there's one particular youth in class, and I remember his name, everything. He used to sit there in front of the teacher and tell racist jokes. I'll tell you one of the jokes. Why haven't Packies got a football team? Every time they get to the corner, they build a shop. Boom, that was one of his jokes. His other jokes were, how do Packies stop a bus? Press the red button on the head. That's not even a Pakistani thing, that's an Indian thing. But, like, just bare jokes like that. One day, like, I just had enough. I said, nah. But this bro was, like, much bigger than me, like, in size-wise. Same year, but I just picked up a chair and went to attack him. So after, like, that happened, he stopped. Because he wasn't ready for that. Man picked up a chair, went to attack him. He was just like But, like, one thing you got to remember, even with him, he was younger self, like 12, around them ages. He probably didn't even know what he was doing. He's heard it from his elders. So where we come from, I'll send it to you later still. I don't want to say his name, don't want to give people no clout. We had one of the biggest racists in the country from where we come from. There's documentaries done about this guy. Like Chelsea Headhunters. He was like the leader of the Chelsea Headhunters. One of the main, I think one of the top two main dudes. And the way he got burned in the end, he got done for chopping up a Fed. So these men weren't just everyday racist. Like they're real, like they're putting work.
They were on work, yeah.
They were on work. They've touched a few men still, but that was more before our generation. Yeah. That was like the generation before us. So what had happened? So we've got a strong Caribbean community where we come from. So with the Caribbean community, they kind of put in the work from early. So they kind of stopped troubling them, man. And it's like the racism got directed towards the Asian bros, because the Asian bros weren't really saying too much. So I noticed that. So I noticed even in school, we had black people in our school, but the white people wouldn't really be racist towards them. It was like targeted towards the Asian man.
Yeah, you lot was considered as softer.
Exactly.
Just call it how it is, bro.
Exactly.
You lot was
Yeah.
considered
Cool.
as soft,
Yeah. Exactly.
bro.
Yeah. So they looked at man as soft, didn't it? Boom. And this went on now, like, so obviously now man's just getting like onto the road slowly. So man's not really having it. It is what it is. Man's starting to get violent now.
Yeah.
Boom. So we kind of grew up like this now up until like 15, whatever. I got kicked out of school and whatever. And once I got kicked out of school, we're hanging out on the road, just doing nothing. So what had happened at this time, this was going to 97 now. So my brothers were at school, obviously, because I've been kicked out. Had no one to chill with. So I've started chilling with the brothers who were like 4 or 5 years older. And these guys are like just raw. They're smoking crack. But obviously at 15, I don't know what crack is. I have no idea what crack is. So these men are going on mad earners, I'll tell you a few stories later about some mad raises, but I'm just tagging along. I'm just going with them because I ain't got nothing to do. And these men are doing like real crime. But I'm just looking at it like a joke thing, innit? Like, I'm getting a little raise at it to buy weed. But one thing I do respect about these youths though, they never kind of got me to smoke crack or heroin or whatever. They used to always say to me, boy, we see you smoking this, we're going to bruck you up. They used to say that to me. So they had some, even though they were smoking, they had some type of morality.
Hold on, pause. Rewind this. Where are you from? Where's your family from? Pakistan.
Yeah. So yeah, you won't.
What's your parents saying when this is good? What's your what's it like? Because you're getting kicked out of school.
Cool, yeah.
Because I know
they didn't know I was kicked out of school.
They did. That's what I'm asking. Because I know the upbringing is different.
So you were still skipping that like school.
Because I need to get that part as well. Cause I hear that part, but I know when you go in your yard, there's discipline. So how are you stirring that?
So my mum didn't speak no English at all.
That's an advantage to you straight away.
Like none. She can't read. She can't speak. My dad is very broken, especially at that time. He's a bit better now. Yeah. But it's very broken English. Yeah. So I'm swiping the letters, isn't it?
Okay.
I'm swiping them.
Yeah.
So even when I got kicked out, do you remember case conference? No. So once you get kicked out, they do a case conference. So they might let you back in, but you got to go there with your dad.
It's like a pill. I had that still.
Yeah. So you go there with your pops. But remember, they don't know I'm kicked out.
Yeah, when they bring your parents into.
Man, what you say? What you say? You brought your parents there and they couldn't speak English.
No, they didn't even know. They didn't even know because I swiped the letter.
Yeah.
They didn't even know, innit? So obviously, I stayed out of school. They found out obviously later on, but by that time, remember, I'm close to 16 anyway. Yeah. So by the time they found out, I'm out of school anyway.
Okay, well carry on where you were. The only reason I asked you that is because I know I've got Pakistani brethren, so I know there's a certain expectations, discipline, all of the above. So that's why I was just asking how you skirted around that.
So that's an important point. So a lot of the Pakistanis in the UK, they came from areas mainly in Kashmir and a place called Jhelum. I can't think it's North Pakistan. So a lot of them that came over back then in the 60s, especially 50s and 60s, it was for work. They didn't speak English, nothing. But it was labour work, innit? In the factories and whatever after the World War II. So they never came here to educate. They came here to work. And that was their goal, innit? So they had no understanding of the culture here. And the culture evolved over time. Obviously, black people came over from the Caribbean, African brothers came over, the culture that kind of evolved in time, and they had no idea what was going on. They had no idea what was going on outside. So it's like when we were outside, we were like in a different world. And then you go home, boom. Did you understand?
It does.
So obviously, like being an Asian youth in an environment where there wasn't really many Asian men on road, it made you like a proper target. You understand what I mean? When man's like constantly trying to make a move on you, you're going raving, man's trying to badge you up. I always kind of had that, I think it was that thing from a youth where man dealt with racism, like man's just not having it.
I like the way you spun that back. I like how you did that. You see what you did there? Because you man went on a tangent, spoke all of that, and then span it back to the beginning and said, yeah, so it goes back. I rate you, you know. I rate you. Because it makes sense. You see what I'm saying? Because one thing does lead into the next, bro. You see what I'm saying? So you doubling back and saying, yeah, so from the racism having to do with that.
I believe personally now, as a big man, if it wasn't for that racism man experience, maybe man wouldn't even went on road. But you just felt so detached from the system.
I hear you.
Do you understand? Because especially back then, you know, a lot of youths don't understand what it was like back then.
No, that like we say that in here. Like a lot of youths don't fully understand what racism. They think they know racism. Yeah. But like
we
talk many times. Yeah, the marches, you understand, bareface.
Well, there was a thing called packy bashing. That was like a thing, you know, like it was just a common a common. Everyone knew what it was.
Man
Yeah.
heard
Do
about
Do you understand?
Yeah.
And it was real. Them man would get into their vans and go look
Like
for
we've
bread.
always said, like the racism, like even like what you're talking about, and it's like man can actually like familiarize with it or understand it because those times it was like you say in your face. Man will call you like a nigga to your face. Man will turn up at your youth
Bare
club,
face.
30 man strong,
it.
and you have to fight your way home. Do you know what I'm saying? You're getting, you drive, you know, if you're on a bus going through certain ends and they see you on there, they're chasing the bus down. Like real stuff, like where people now they're getting offended from. That's because even I was away on holiday, I was chatting about something like this, and I was saying that we're thick-skinned to the point where sometimes things that are offending people and everyone's going mad about, we're like, we're just, it's not like it's light, it's still whatever, but it's.
We've been through some.
Been through it.
You hit the nail on the head. That's it. We're thick-skinned.
Yeah.
So when sometimes I'm hearing racism, I'm like, bro, is that your racism?
Like,
That's light, you
That's
know.
light, you know. It's deep.
like, but it still affects us though, and
Yeah,
it all leads into the next, and that's where the PTSD stems in, and that's what we were talking about.
On the phone.
Yeah, we were talking on the phone about
Pounds,
the
It's a
PTSD.
quick thing I want to just mention.
Go on.
Like with the racism thing. I know you must remember this fight, man. Prince Nazim Ahmed was with Kevin Kelly.
Come on, that's my guy. Smoked his
Kevin
boots.
Kelly was at the Scottish
Boom.
brother.
No.
Okay.
Kevin Kelly was.
So the fight was in New York, remember?
Yeah, the American. He said he'd smoke his boots.
So I was when this fight happened, I was 15 years old. So we snuck into a snooker hall where they're playing the fight at night because remember it was America, so it was late at night. So me, my brother, 17 and 15, we snuck in. We've watched the fight. That was a good night. The fight was serious. 5 knockdowns, right? 5, 6 knockdowns. It lasted 4 rounds or 5 rounds.
Yeah, it was just a back and
It was
forth.
just a back and forth, a bad book. So we're happy. We've come out now. There's one late night takeaway in my ends. It's open to like 4, 5, 6 in the morning. So me, I'm 15 years old, you know. My brother's 17. We go in there, get some food quickly before we go home. What happens as we're in there? Some racist bros walk in. Like grown men, mid-30s, 30, maybe 38, 39, whatever. As soon as they walk in, start making racist comments. Smells of curry in there, this. I'm looking at my brother like, oh my days. We just need to go home. I remember, don't forget, them times, I think Stephen Lawrence had happened. That was 96 Stephen Lawrence, right?
Yeah, around that time.
So, bro, that's in your psyche, you know? Like, don't get caught slipping out here.
Yeah.
So I said to my brother, let's get the food and let's cut. Like, because a few of them as well, they're not alone. So we grabbed the food, but as we've grabbed the food and walk out the takeaway, they followed us. Bro, man's 15 years old, you know? And these men are like, you know, bare belly bros.
Yeah.
He's like, oi, like, whatever, packy, whatever. Like, cool. So I'm ready to bounce, innit? But I'm not going to bounce without my brethren. Like, my brethren's there, innit? My brethren's like, what's up? My brethren's a bit older. He goes to open his mouth with racist abuse. My brethren, you know, gives him one of them sweep kicks in the leg and bangs him in his face. And because, you know, we're mentally connected, as soon as the bang landed, we turned around and kicked. You know, like, as soon as he landed the bang, just get that W.
Yeah.
And bounce.
Yeah, keep it moving.
So we've cut now. We've jumped in some front gardens. We've been like going to gardens now, trying to like kick out, and we could hear these bros. Like, where are these packies? I say, yo, we get caught tonight. We're done. We're done out here. Alhamdulillah, like we didn't get grip. But that's what I mean. Like, it was that stuff like this. It was just like standard, you know.
Yeah, man.
So it's so many, like, when I look back now, like the PTSD we're talking about, that particular video about Mike Tyson. You seen that?
Which one's that one?
You showed it to him?
I haven't showed you. There's a Mike
We play it on the
Tyson
screen,
video
innit? So
where
for the
he's-
people to watch.
Where he's talking about. Go on, break it down, Hitz.
So there's a clip of Mike Tyson. He's crying, like he's proper bawling, yeah. And he's talking about, obviously, viewers can watch it as well. So he's bawling about like how he don't feel sometimes like a man no more. He feels like a bitch, and the reason why he feels like that is because like he can't be that person he used to be. You know, because remember, when you're that person you used to be, there's no rules.
Yeah.
You could take it where you want to take it.
Yeah.
So he said in the video, he said he's scared of that person. He's scared of that person, who he was, because he said if that person comes out, hell's coming with him.
Yeah.
Because why? If you know Tyson's history, you know he's been through a lot of things when he was young. The man was sticking man up and robbing people, whatever. So he's from, I think, Brownsville, right?
Yeah, Brownsville.
So them man are from a very, and that PTSD affected him way before boxing. The PTSD, his PTSD, I don't think has got anything to do with boxing. I think it was way before that. Because remember, his brethren was Hummer who got licked down.
Yeah. A lot of his brethren got.
Yeah, got licked down or whatever. So when I saw that, I understood it.
Yeah.
Because now, obviously, I'm a man that likes reading. So I understand what PTSD is. Me myself, I have no doubt of PTSD. No doubt. So, and I could see it on my brethrens. But because some of my brethren won't really read about it, they're not really interested in it or whatever, they just kind of, nah, man's cool.
Yeah.
But I recognized it. I was like, yo, man got PTSD now.
Yeah.
So, for example, when a man phones you up, say, yo, come do a podcast. But the first thing a man's thinking, yo, is a setup. That's just going to come naturally in your mind.
Yeah.
You know, because that's how man move, bro. I've called man for a podcast. And man, I could see the breads thinking, am I getting set up? You know? Bro, like, you're not even from around here. But this is just the mentality of how we grew up because it affects you, innit? You understand what I mean or whatever? So when I came here, I see it's a nice place, nice building.
I was gonna say,
I was happy.
I was gonna say, no.
I was
when,
like,
when P gives you the shout, you're blessed, blood. You're
bro,
good.
bro, but do you understand? Like,
You're good, but I
so
get it.
It's
fully.
one of them things. Like, it's like, bro, come on, man's wearing kettles and them things. They're like, you're gonna know, like, and because we have that ego, bro. You ain't telling me where I can't wear my kettle. I'm wearing my kettle anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, you hear the man saying, "Oh, bro, like, be careful." Nah, it's an ego thing, isn't it? You know. So back in the day, we used to go raving Coliseum, and I'm sure that was a spot for you.
Come on.
So we used to go there, me, my man, like we had a little clique.
Old school collie, you know.
Yeah. So boom, yeah, old collie. I remember we're going there, not really for raving though. We're going there to floss,
Yeah.
to prove a point that we could come here shining, and no one could say nothing. Do you understand what I mean? It's an ego thing.
Yeah.
So even like now, so a lot of that PTSD that people have got, they don't even recognize it. But you do certain things, you know, your eyes, the way they move, the way you watch things, you don't even realize you're doing it. You don't even realize you're doing it, but you're doing it. And I always say to youths, like, you don't even understand when you're 21, 22 what you're doing. You see, when you hit them ages of like 30, 35, 40, that's when the effects start affecting, and you start like realizing, like, rah, it wasn't all fun and games as it was portrayed to be. There's a much more deeper thing to this, you know, and whatever. So remember, constantly being in a cycle of paranoia, because either you're paranoid from your ops, you're paranoid from the feds. From the moment you wake up, if you're a real roadman, you're short in food, you got beef, you're in a constant state of looking over your shoulder. Boy them or beef. So imagine living like that for years on end. That's going to affect you, innit? You understand what I mean? So I always say, and I was saying to Pounds the other day as well, like a grown man like Mike Tyson, he was a serious individual. For him to open up like that, because I'm even surprised he opened up like that, you know? Because a lot of people feel like that, but they won't open up like that. You're crying on camera, whatever, whatnot. Understand, boy, that life comes with a consequence, you know? And you're only going to realize that much later on. You know, I always say, like, a rap video is 4 minutes. You don't see a man's life before that and after that. If he's a real road guy, there's a lot of stuff that comes with that. And there's a story you told me the other day, I'm not going to, you know, about something happened to your peoples. And it was like, when you told me that, it kind of like, rah, that's deep, you know, because that's the consequences of that life, man.
100%.
It's deep, man.
100%. Yeah. It's the real. Yeah, the PTSD is there, man. It's undeniable, bro.
The road side.
Like, I know people. I know the signs, bro. I watched when the door opened. I watched you look. When my guys just come in there, I see you instantly. Like I see it, bro. Come on.
But it's normal though.
It's normal.
Yeah, it's normal.
I know what's going on in this room, innit? So I don't move. You know what's going on. But you don't. So the minute that door opened, you and your brethren, cause I looked at both. Both man looked at the door. With the same, you see what I'm saying?
You know what's mad, bro?
It's
Like,
normal.
because remember, when you've done enough dirt,
Exactly.
you don't know, innit?
Like, you're always looking over.
Yeah.
You
don't know.
And then, it's true what you say, like, some people identify it as PTSD. Like, it's just maybe just the, like, what's the word? Like, the repercussions of the life that you live in it is that they have these.
That's part of it.
That have that paranoia, but when you actually break it down in medical terms, it's
there's
PTSD.
What did Pac say in that track? Changes at the end. I always got worried about the payback. Some kid that I roughed up way back coming back after all these years.
Yeah.
Bro, that's that. Look what happened to like Nipsey Hussle and all these.
Yeah.
You got to try to live good with people. I say it all the
Exactly,
time.
yeah.
I say it all the time.
Yeah.
Like, moving on, switching lanes.
There's a tune by Morrison, the rapper.
Yeah, go on.
He says, "Under this drip, I got that PTSD stain on me.
Yeah, facts.
In the
Facts.
daily
Things come
duppy.
at a price, you know.
Yeah.
Things come at a price. I was just reading on the way that they killed one guy for his paddock.
Oh yeah, the music manager.
Yeah, music manager. They killed him for his paddock. The security set him up when he went to a place. The security saw it and then rang man them and said, "Yeah, come and get him." And they've stabbed him up and killed him.
Even that guy the other day, the girls, innit? Did you see it?
Which one?
I was on one of the news channels on YouTube. I think the Rolex was fake.
It might be the same.
And the girls set him up and they've gone.
Oh, I saw that. They went to the yard.
They murked him.
They went to
that
the
was
yard.
another
Them,
one, yeah,
listen, man, people, listen. That girl setting you up thing is dead. You don't need to calm down with the flipping girl just messaging you on DMs and you're inviting them to your yard. You're meeting them. So think about it, bro.
Yeah.
Think about it. Come
And
on.
all that shining guy to see gal with your kettles
I
on.
don't think, man. That's just, the shining thing. Like, if you know you're doing well within yourself, who are you trying to prove something to?
Yeah, 100%.
Who are you trying to prove something to? But it's the ego. It's the ego and
It's the ego,
wanting
man.
to shine. But
Yeah.
trust me, take it from some guys that have been there. No, I'm not saying that man them ain't got jewelry. You know, you see when I'm ready, I put on jewelry and stuff. But there's a time and a place. You understand? Because
comes
there's
with the-
people that
it comes with
there's
the
people
consequence.
Yeah, because there's people that are hungry. There's people that are hungry. You understand? They're either hungry because they need to go and buy drugs, or they're just hungry anyway, and they're looking at you shining and they're thinking, or they're just jealous and looking at you shining and thinking, I should have that. That should be mine. Where's he got that for?
Yeah,
Who's he?
yeah.
How can he wear that? So you got to
Exactly,
be
yeah.
you got to be alert and aware of what's going on. But right, switching lanes slightly hits without saying too much. As a father now, how you feel as a father now, as a man that's been it? I mean, you got one son.
Now I got 3 kids.
Oh, you got 3 kids.
Yeah.
Right.
I got 2 sons and 1 daughter.
Okay.
But you know what it
Ages?
is? 13, 11, and 5.
Oh, you're doing well.
But you know what it is? You see, like, I was talking to Pounds about this the other day. Now.
Yeah, you're telling me that.
It was deep still.
You can only say, listen, that's why I give you the option. Say what you want to say.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
So, you see, fatherhood is deep, you know.
very.
Is beyond what you think it is. You know, some people, fatherhood for them is just buying the youth's nice stuff. And they think they've done the job. So it's way beyond that, whatever. So, look, as we were speaking about the PTSD before, I've gone through things that I can't even imagine my son going through them. Like, the thought of my son going through what I went through scares me. So I'll tell you what happened about a year and a half ago. So my kids are mixed race. Pakistani, their grand's from St. Vincent, and their granddad's he's white. So my little son, he's 5 years old, in the park, some older kid calls him the N-word. He was 5 years old. I think he must have been in the way of the gate or something, and and some racist little youth like, get out the way you little, and he used the N-word or whatever. So the mum phoned me up or whatever. I'm vexed. Like, yo, what? The youth's 5 years old and whatever. So, you know, as a father, you have this thing where you want to protect your kids from the outside. So as my kids are good kids. And my older son, really proud of him, very, very smart kid. So when I was a youth, that's one of the things that the teacher said, very intelligent. But you got some stuff with you, basically. At that time, remember, they didn't label everything that's this wrong with. They really didn't understand the trauma man's have been through already at school. So if it wasn't for that, man probably would have done quite well. So I see that same intelligence in my kid, like really good at maths or whatever, whatnot. But I said to myself, boy, you know, once he starts going outside and hanging out with his friends, this is where the madness usually starts, isn't it? That wrong knucklehead friend pulls out a cigarette, peer pressure, someone pulls out a spliff of weed, and it starts going. That's because that's what happened to us. So I'm not like, how do I manage this? Innit? Like, how do I manage this? You know, you don't want to force the youth to stay inside the house. You don't want to do that if he's off his own choice or whatever. So my youth got into, like, you know, gaming. Like, he plays these mad games or whatnot. So one day when he was like 11, I think, he started secondary school. He goes, Dad, can I walk home back from school with my mates? It's only 5 minutes in. I was like, nah. I just felt on that little journeys where something might go wrong, and one of, you know, like, because everything wrong we did as kids when our parents weren't watching it, we didn't. When our parents were watching, we were kind of on point. So anyway, so he got into gaming or whatever. Man brought him the little gaming laptops and whatnot, where he doesn't really ask now that he wants to go chill outside with his mates and stuff, because they're all online doing this thing. But as a father, I prefer that.
Of course.
As long as he's safe online, I prefer that than him hanging around in the local park. God knows what they're doing. Innit? You understand what I mean?
Man.
Because like I said, I can't even imagine my youth going through what man went through. And I'm talking about everything from the beginning
100%.
to now.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I mean, or whatever? So it's deep, and like I said, I feel like responsible. That like, look, we fell in them potholes, innit? So we know what them potholes are. So you got to at least try your best to avoid them potholes. I personally don't agree. Like, look, if we're living in areas that are known for crime, you know what happens here. Like the area where I grew up, you're not gonna find no future engineers there, future pilots. You might get the odd man
The odd one
who's
away.
there,
Yeah.
but you're not gonna find taxi drivers, factory workers, and the future drug dealers.
Yeah.
That's what you're gonna find there. So you let your kid out to play around there. What do you think's gonna happen?
Yeah.
Because remember, they're looking up to the drug dealers. You understand? So when we were, like, for example, when we were growing up, especially that generation of Asians, no one had actually achieved anything at that time. Like there was no doctors in our ends, there was no engineers or nothing. So the only breads that you saw that had a little something was people that were selling drugs. So you kind of started to understand, okay, this is the way. Because remember, kids are influenced by what they see.
Yeah.
And think about it now with this whole social media. Like, it's just on you and whatever. So like I remember, like an example, like you see, like watches. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry knows about watches. Bro, you think back then people knew about watches? It's only selective people knew what is what.
Yeah.
But because of Instagram,
Yeah.
everyone knows what a Hulk is.
Yeah.
Everyone knows what a panda is. You know, this is constantly now bombarded
Yeah.
to the kids or whatever, whatnot. Where you wants like a Moncler jacket and whatever. Could you imagine asking mum for a Moncler jacket when you were 12?
Yeah.
My dad would
Like, seriously.
Go market, bruv.
Brother, you get broke up just for asking that question.
Yeah. Disrespect.
That was such a disrespectful question.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you want an £800, £900 jacket. Like,
Yeah. You imagine.
bro, you know when we were youths, yeah? So obviously our families didn't have money, innit? And we got enough siblings, my brothers are all the same. So my pops will go and buy, you remember Gola, high tech?
Yeah. Come on. Yeah.
What did you hear me just say? Man will be going market. That's where
Market,
man
yeah.
my dad's taking me market,
Yeah.
brother.
Do you understand? So they'll see them times, I don't know if you remember, we're the same age, innit?
Yeah.
You know what were big? Reebok Classics.
Yeah.
Them trainers were big back then.
Yeah. Come on, man.
And you know,
Work out
as a
all
youth,
of them.
all I wanted when I was like, all I wanted was a pair of Reebok Classics.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted. But you think I could say to my pops, I want like a £40 pair of trainers. But you are catching lashes because the question is so disrespectful. Like, you want me to spend half my week's wages or whatever it is
Yeah.
on buying you a pair of trainers, and you've got a bag of siblings.
Yeah.
So it's madness. So one of the first crimes that I probably did for like a little bit of money was to buy a pair of Reebok Classics. Just for that.
Yeah,
You understand? So obviously we recognize that now. So we would give our kids little things like that just to keep it moving and whatever, whatnot. But like I said, man, it'd be horrible. Cause I know bros now who are on road selling drugs. Their kids are on road.
Yeah, of course.
Actually, the youth messaged me the other day.
Yeah.
His dad, drug dealer turned addict. The youth's on road now. The youth's got into some little pass on road or whatever, whatnot. So I said to him, look, you see the mistakes your pops made, innit? I know you're young and you're probably not understanding what I'm saying, but you're likely to go down the same road if you don't pump these brakes right now and whatever. But like I said, man, it's so hard to make them understand because now everything is so glorified. And me and Pounds were talking the other day about music. Islam music is haram, especially rap music,
Yeah.
because it has, having a misplaced ego in Islam is wrong. You can't have them type of egos, that type of pride in the wrong way. You can have it in a good way, but not in the wrong way. But we were saying that, back in the day when I was growing up, I never listened to garage. I didn't like it.
Yeah.
The only rap I really listened to was Nas, Pac, and people, Jay-Z, whatever, because they were storytelling.
Yeah.
They were telling stories of the environment. And no matter which rapper it was, they are telling stories about an area they don't want to even be there. They want to get the hell out of there. They're saying that in their raps.
Yeah.
But today, the rap music has been flipped on its head to where you got kids from the suburbs wanting to be in the...
be
Yeah.
Like,
wanting to be rolled.
bro, it's crazy because
Facts.
why? Because a lot of these youths should never be on road, bro. Like, your parents are okay. They're not struggling, you know? And whatever, you got nice things. You got a pair of Air Max and, you know, an Adidas tracksuit and an iPad and an iPhone. Bro, I see kids now have iPhones, like 13 years old. Like, so you've got a good foundation. But like I said, that music back then, I believe a lot of us listened to it just to relate to our environment.
100%.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, it's true, man.
That's literally.
And this generation is look at Jay Morant, the basketball player, Memphis Grizzlies. Like what he's going through right now, where they suspended him. Where like if you check this brother's history, waving the gun and all this gang activity, and one of the other basketball players, he pull up on them outside, wave the beam on him, and all of this. Yeah, this time when you check my man's history, this brother's been playing b-ball since high school.
Brothers think he's cool. But
like,
it's not cool.
It's not cool.
It's not cool,
But
bro.
it's like there's this fascination with gang activity nowadays.
Until it's, what they say, everyone wants to be a lion until it's time to do lion shit.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
You know,
so everyone wants to be gang until
until
you find out what really goes on.
Yeah.
Like when your door comes in, whether it's the boy them or man them that want to tie you up and burn you with an iron until you tell them where everything is. Like it's as real as that. It's not anything to be glorified because it's horrific. Like if you really understand what goes on, it's horrific.
You know, trust me, why would anyone want this life, you know?
It's horrific, bro.
I know bros, like close friends of mine, they have given their life to the prison system. Their whole lives.
Yeah.
5 years on road, 7 in jail. 2 years on road, just back on in their 40s and 50s.
And remember as well, by extension, that's their families' lives as well. That's visits up and down the country, kids without fathers, and knock-on effects. You get it.
You know, people are entering the game now for fun. I've noticed that difference.
Yeah.
You know, there's a story on my thing. You can probably put it up on the screen so I don't want to go into it too much. It's kind of a long story.
My editor's lazy. Just say what the name of it so you can look it up still.
I'll send it to you. Oh, your editor's lazy like that?
Yeah.
Oh, is that your editor?
Yeah, maybe the TikTokers will do it, but
We'll try to put a link in the description.
No, our TikToker will do it properly and do it up, but
So imagine,
the editor won't.
So imagine like, man's outside now, so we're outside, we're making money. The objective is not beef.
No.
It's just like, yo, we got money. Like even though it was astaghfirullah, haram is the wrong way, but with that immature mind, we were just gassed.
Come on, bro.
We've got dough. You know, we could go buy a phone, I could go raving, I could go ministry.
But then, unfortunately, as a byproduct of that, when you're making money, man won't come test you, so you have to show them like.
I'm gonna get to that. So I've got a little passer going on with
You just give me joke. We was just trying to live back in that moment of, you know,
because
getting it,
man was enjoying the money. You never
had to bring it back to the violence
because they won't let you enjoy the money, bro.
So
it's a reality.
But it's a reality though. It's, bro, you know, I always say the biggest mistake I made on road was flossing.
Yeah,
that was the biggest mistake I ever made.
Bro, your brethren will hate you.
But you know what? It's the ego though.
Yeah,
with the ego, you have it's gonna make you. But anyway, so I'm like around about 17. It was Carnival Day, innit? It was Carnival Day. So we got Carnival where we're from, innit? Yeah. So it's Carnival Day. I've got a passer gun with a one click. It's quite a big click here, but they're robbers though. The street crime. Like we're flying. You know, we're on a couple boxes. We're just doing our thing or whatever. But like at this moment in time, like if someone comes, we're back in it. But we don't need to go out and make trouble. Because we're making P, like we ain't got no interest in making trouble. Someone comes, we ain't giving nothing up, and whatever. So we've had a few issues and whatever. I get a phone call from the Carnival. A man says to me, "Yo, be on point. The man them are coming to your ends. A bag of them." We got had the little park we used to shop from. So it's me and two of my brethren, me, H and K. So we're in the park, but you know he told me it, but I didn't register it. You know when you're busy and whatever, cool, innit, man, keep your eyes open. But man's not really, I'm like 17 now, I believe, yeah? An hour later, this is like a famous story in our ends. That gate opens in the park. Brother, I look up, there's like 30, 40, 50 black brothers walking towards me, saying my name. Because we had a little issue, one of my brethren had a little issue with their brethren or whatever. And they've took advantage of the day because it's Carnival, so bare man are out. So they've brought all their man down there. So my brethren's like, should we run? I was like, bro, run where? It's the man's ends. Where are we going to go? We're going to run out of ends to a different ends. cut a long story short, they rushed me or whatever. They've done their thing, yeah? They rushed me or whatever. So, you see, the moment they finished rushing me, from that moment, I told them, yo, it's on. There was no doubting myself, like, no nothing. You made your move. My move now. You understand? So, you know, like you said, everyone wants to be a gangster until it's time to do something gangster. So I told them from that very moment, I said, yo, it's on. And there was no like doubting myself. And at that point, in that situation for an Asian youth, like one Asian youth to think like that, if I folded, no one would have said nothing. No one could diss me and say, yo, like he folded. I'm one bread with a couple brethrens, you know? And I said, nah. See that there? That was a proud moment of my life. Even though we were doing the wrong things, because we never folded. I said, whatever you've done, we're going to do something 10 times worse. We just made it very clear from that moment. And then man did whatever we had to do. So like you said, like, people want to live that life and they're putting themselves in that life. But a lot of people never put themselves in that life. They were in that situation, something happened to them, and you sometimes got no choice. Because if you let that slide, every hyena's coming out. Every hyena's coming out to eat you.
True story.
You understand what I mean?
Relate.
That's how the
True
thing.
stories.
Do you understand?
True stories, right?
That's how the thing
As we
goes.
start to switch lanes now, start to wind down because we've got something going on. Talk about what's going on now, my bro. Talk about what you're doing now. Because you've had a journey, but right now, we're on the other side of things are looking good. What we doing now? Let them know some of the things that you're doing that you've got going on to look out for.
So, I left the road 08. It'd be 15 years by the end of this year. But like I said, got a lot of people bridging still outside and doing mad birds and whatnot. So I just kept it, but I stayed. You know, man always said to me, "Oh, you don't want to come back, like to the game." I was like, "Nah, man, it's just not me." I know, because you know in your heart is gonna go wrong. So alhamdulillah, I stay consistent. I'm a hustler. One day I might be renovating a house. One day I might be buying a car to sell it. Whatever, you know, I hustle, innit, yeah. But I never enjoyed anything in particular that I've done. Like, I'm in the furniture game. Don't really enjoy it, but I do it just to make money. Renovate a house just to make money. But I don't really enjoy doing them things. And then one day I started watching this podcasting thing about 3 years ago. And you're like you said, when I'm watching it, it's like like therapy, isn't it? I'm watching this thing, interesting stories or whatnot. So my brethren said to me one time, "Oh, come, we do a podcast." This is what I said, "Nah, man, that's not me, bro." Because, you know, we're from that generation where we don't deal with cameras, innit? Like, you pull out a camera in front of a man when we're on road, everyone's getting paranoid. So I was like, "Nah, man, it's not me, it's not me." So he's like, "Come, man, give it a go. Let's just do it." But the more I'm watching the YouTube podcast, I like it. Because, you know, Joe Rogan's got his thing going on and stuff like that. It's just so many different genres and whatever. So when I came into it, I said from the beginning, I want to make a movie. But I don't want to make no iPhone movie. You know, like, man, just make some budget. I don't want to do that. I want to make a proper movie and whatever. But remember, you want to make a movie, but you have no knowledge of nothing. You have no knowledge of where you begin, where you don't begin. I don't know nothing about no cameras, DSLR. We don't know nothing. So I've been doing this for about 22 months now. It's come up 2 years. And just gaining knowledge as you go along. Learning. You link people shout you on Instagram or whatnot. So we're at a point now. So obviously the podcasting is something we're always going to do. You know, I want to get a bit more consistent on it. Like I had to travel quite a bit recently. I had to go to Pakistan after 22 years or whatever. Go on. Boom. So I had a lot of things to do or whatever, but I want to get a bit more consistent in it again and whatever. But we've just finished a script for a movie. So I don't want to go too much into it right now. No. So we've sat down and so we're looking to make it in it. So, and it's like a proper, how can I put it without saying too much, is a high quality production. You know that America, they've got their own thing going on in America. Apart from Top Boy, what else is there really here? What, can you name anything?
Well, like similar.
Just kind of on that level that's recognized across the country.
Not as recognised, I can't think off the top of my head. there used to be some other bits and smaller bits.
Yeah, like back in the year,
Circle of
rolling with the
Revenge and them
nines.
thing there.
Yeah.
Remember Circle of
Remember
Revenge?
Rolling
I
with the
big up
Nines?
them, man. They're rolling with the nines and
Back
them
in the day,
films.
whatever.
Oh shit! Yeah, come on.
Yeah, them films.
Oh, we talking films.
Yeah, films
come on.
or whatever.
Shout out my guy Dylan. Them One Day and them films. Like
One Day, yeah,
But
big
yeah, I get what you're saying. Not
big
to
boy
the,
film.
not in comparison to what goes on with the Americans.
You know what it is? It's not like you see, like we in England, we have a very good understanding of what's happening in America, how the kind of road works, New York, LA. We understand the differences. The Puerto Ricans and the Mexicans, we understand, but the UK thing's not really represented like that.
Yeah, it's not represented in true light.
Not at all, really, bro. If you really look at the scene in England, to what they portray on camera, it's not even accurate.
No, they don't know.
In the slightest.
They don't know. Listen, even in our most popular of shows, not naming because I don't want to downplay any shows. So I won't say any names. It doesn't particularly give the realist perspective of how things really go, especially when corporates get involved. So some things have to be kind of
dull down.
Yeah. So
because remember the road is always linked to the drug game.
Yeah, and it's not just that.
Always, you know. And so like I don't understand how someone could make a movie if they don't understand the drug game. I've watched movies and they're talking about drugs. I'm like, bro, what on earth are you on about? It don't even work like that. You understand what I mean or whatever. And why they make just basic errors, I don't understand. You understand? But like I said, I don't feel like this is just entertainment. This is not a reality of what's really going on outside. You understand what I mean? And whatever. So if you kind of look at even the demographics, like for example, one thing that we know, there's a strong, like in London, there's a strong kind of Muslim youths on roads. Somalis, Afghans, Asian. That's never been portrayed in a movie ever, and they're not like they're not a minority no more. You know what I mean or whatever. So things like that is like always come. The movies are always, I feel like, just for entertainment value, and not really for. So
you're right when you say it like that because we've got a big Albanian influx. Like, do you get what I mean?
Everything.
Yeah,
bro,
like
do you understand? But it's
the
never portrayed onto a big screen like that.
Yeah,
you understand?
Closest is Top Boy.
Closest Top Boy, 100%. Yeah, that is the closest.
Definitely the closest.
I like the first 2 seasons though. For me, they were the best.
Yeah. I can't think which season. The funny thing is, I was saying to myself the other day, I'm going to give it a rewatch, the whole thing, front to back. But
the next season's coming out soon, apparently, isn't it?
Yeah, that's why I said.
Would that be the third or the fourth?
Fifth. That's the fifth.
I think the fifth.
Oh, including the first one.
Yeah, the 1 and 2 on Channel 4, and then you had 3 and 4 on Netflix.
Yeah, Devils though, good, decent, good representation. I like Top Boy. I
like the first 2. I think were hard though. They were my favourite ones.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember them.
Of course.
I like the bit when Sully licks the warehouse. No. Sorry, no. Going back before that, they go to the guy's house, season 2, I think it was, and the youth's rapping about AK, and Sully goes to him. Blood, have you ever seen an AK? I've been on the road for years and I could tell you I've never seen an AK. And whatever, you don't remember that bit?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, so that made me laugh still. I was like, yeah, for real.
Top show.
So it had a lot of reality to it. And whatever.
So that's what you're looking to bring in your thing, the realness.
Yeah, I want to try something like, you got to try, innit?
Yeah,
you know?
Of course you got to try. Listen, you're more than trying, you're doing, innit? You're actively making it happen. So is there a timeline on that, or that's just a project, that's just something that's...
Yeah, we would like to start recording in May if we can, hopefully. We see obviously how it goes, because you've got to get the right actors and stuff like that.
It's a big
project.
Bro.
Yeah, it's not small.
So as long as everyone involved understands that, like it's not overnight, it's not our 3 weeks thing, it's casting, auditions, you understand, shoots, reshoots, etc., locations. So yeah, but it can be done though.
Is a powerful like message in the film though. It's not like just glorifying.
Yeah.
I can't go into it, but it's a very, very powerful message. You know,
we're gonna look forward to that. What else? What about your the stories? Them you still coming with them?
Yeah, we're still coming with that. What's it called? Obviously because I was traveling. So recently I was traveling, had relatives pass away back home.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, so boom, I had to go. I was there back for that. Ended up staying there for quite a little while, and whatever. My uncle and some other relatives passed away, and whatever. So I've been a bit busy going backwards and forwards and stuff like that.
Life, bro.
It's life, yeah.
People have to understand that when we're doing these things as well, like we're independent, so there's a lot we've got to deal with the real and day-to-day things at the same time.
And people don't understand that, you know. So it's like, man's got a life outside this.
Of
you know?
course, bro.
And you have so much you got to deal with sometimes. Like from here now, I'm going to link someone at Heathrow. Got to go link someone there. Then I'm going to go link someone in the ends. You know, then I got to go home, take the youths to school in the morning. You understand? It's just like there's a lot to do, and sometimes you just got to fit them in
Yeah.
Yeah.
where you can, man. You know, sometimes when you book a podcast and someone lets you down,
Yeah.
don't turn up, bro. That's a problem, you know.
Bruv, it's
You know?
Problem. It ain't
costly problem. It's not even
big
like-
problem. I don't think. I think it's only happened once, maybe once, maybe no. I think once, but a couple times. But it is like time is precious.
Because you're paying for venues and
But time is precious.
people don't understand the people behind the camera, innit?
Precious. But there's a team. Like everyone's. Yeah, it's a team effort. So
costly.
people's time and effort.
See, man, there.
See-
Costly, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. Costly.
Yeah, they eat good food.
Good food, you know.
Yeah, but all right. So we're looking out for all of those things from you. We're looking out for all of those things from you and more, and more. So
you know what is pounds like.
go on.
I was speaking the other day about what happened to your peoples and whatever. Like, it's only you that could kind of like put your own experiences forward, innit?
Of course.
No one could do it for you, innit? So remember, a lot of these youths that are rapping or whatever, sometimes they're not even telling their own lives. It's other people's life stories they're telling and whatever, whatnot. And there's nothing wrong with that. You understand? And whatever, but why not you tell your own story?
That's what.
Then one day someone tells it for you and he's making P of it.
Of course.
Which has happened to a lot of people. Look at that, I don't want to say the name of it, but there's one show in America now. Apparently they've took a whole man's
I
life
know what
story.
you're talking about, and I know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
and
Who you're
they've-
talking about.
Yeah, they've made it into like something massive and he didn't even get no recognition for it.
Yeah. No, that's why we're here. It's important for us to tell our own stories and stuff. That's why I talk more now than I would have and stuff. A lot of stuff don't get said. Don't get me wrong. I probably say like 3%, if that, maybe 5%. But there'll be a time, and it might be like you said, a film or a book or whatever. But it's
But
time.
it's
time.
It's the time when it'll be received the way it needs to be as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
You get what I'm saying?
Man, what did Pac say, man?
In the way that it needs to be heard. You
What
get
did Pac say? We're telling war stories.
Betray war stories.
So you're
bro.
it's a big tune. But it's true though, isn't it?
Yeah, like if you lot could hear the conversation that me and Hitz had off pod for an hour, like it's a next kind of a whole different podcast. You get me?
Can't put
But
that online,
you can't
boy.
come online. So you lot just have to kind of speculate pod that.
When I
you get?
told my man, I ran my man. I said, ran that up here, you get me?
Yeah, you have to
know, man,
speculate.
you know what he's like. You
The
know?
realest shit, you can't come on here
yeah,
for many reasons. For many reasons. One, because man don't really want to like.
Yeah, it's not about that.
It's
innit?
not about that.
You know what? It's that we're very, very much aware of not glorifying this thing.
Yeah, because I wouldn't.
That's
want
where it
anyone
is
to
as
be
well, because we
glorified.
got youths that watch it. We
Because
like,
for us to sit in here, there's many that aren't, and it's rough outside.
Yeah.
So
And it
I
contrib-
can't. Sorry, Doug. I can't sit here as and Hitz can't sit here, and you can't sit here, and everyone in this room can't sit here because we're all from an environment as the survivors, and then be like, yeah, I'm this and I'm that, because there's hundreds, thousands that didn't
yeah.
survive.
yeah.
Whether I'm talking about whether they fell to
Mentally,
addiction, whether
addiction.
they fell mentally, or whether they dropped completely, and their mothers had to bury them, and their families had to cry over their bodies. Like a lot didn't survive. You understand? So there's nothing to glorify.
Yeah.
You
You
understand?
know, I always say this though. I always say like, I don't want to lie at the same time. Don't get me wrong. We did have an element of fun,
Yeah.
or what we thought was fun at that time.
Yeah.
You understand? Because madness became fun.
Yeah.
Going to the club with your something became fun.
Yeah.
But it's only now when you look back and you know you take the game as a whole, A to Z.
Realize this. Yeah.
You're like, raw. That's deep. When you see certain men who are like completely tapped.
Yeah.
Like, bro, there's bres walking on the road talking to themselves, bro. Like, I've seen it. Road bres. And when you see the consequence of this thing,
All
you're
day
like,
long.
raw. it's
Man,
deep.
man just lost it for the brother.
It's when you grow.
Normal.
I think when you grow and then all of a sudden it's like you kind of like, not a conscience, but it's like you grow and you get older, you mature, you got responsibilities, you got children now, you got kids. You get me? Like it's different
Bro,
responsibilities.
the-
You look back at maybe how you was when you was carefree and ruthless or free, and you realize like, rah, that was a mad time because
There's a guy from, not far from your end still, I'm going to say his name, brand name, like back in the day. Like his name was known, serious individual. I see a video of him a couple of years ago. Like obviously, I think he's struggling with mental health and that. Bro, when I was in jail with him, innit? Bro, when I saw that, I felt sad, you know. Like I was like, you know, some people mock it and make fun of it and whatever.
yeah.
I felt sad, you know, like,
Yeah,
raw.
it's mad, man.
Bro, I feel that so many of my guys, like, you know, when you go through stages of life, like from whether it's the teenage crew or You might have your crew from up the road, then you might have your crew from that you play football with, and you might the man them from youth centre, so on. So many of them, bro. Like when I look back and look at the numbers, like there's bare man that's gone mad, bare man that are lifed off, bare man that have died. You understand what I'm saying? Like I do feel bad. I look at some of my bridges. I've got a friend now I talk about sometimes in here. I think he got 28 and has to do 22 minimum, and he's probably done about 14 now. But I always think to myself like, wow, we were close. I wonder if I had stayed closer to him, if things could have gone different. And you feel away in its own kind of way. But at the same time, I feel like you have to represent for them. That's why it goes back to what we said about carrying yourself and moving. You have to represent for them, get things done. And like for all of those that have fallen along the way, bear them in mind as you're moving and carrying it. Like, are you going to encourage people to repeat the same cycle, or are you going to show them something different so that things can hopefully be a little better for them? Because every generation you hope is going to get a little bit better, and if them can show some influence in it, it's important.
Bro, if the life was that good, I'll tell my son, yo, go out there, man.
Come on, bro. That'll be
man's trying to protect him. Like, yo,
at all costs. I'm telling you,
it's not what you want to do, man.
It's something you definitely don't want for your sons. It'll be my worst nightmares for anything like that for my sons, because it's horrific, bro.
Yeah, it's horrific, man.
What
do you think about the music scene right now?
You have to ask Doug, man. I don't listen to it. You listen to Doug. Doug's drilling hard as he's on his way back and forth. Doug's drilling, blood.
You know what? I be real. If I'm honest, the music.
I don't think he's listening to the lyrics, but I think Doug's just bubbling.
It's just not, because you know what? Like you said earlier about when we was listening to like the Jay-Z's, what I grew up to, and all the music I grew up to, like it had feeling, it had meaning. It's like, do you know what I mean? I feel like
what's now a vibe.
I feel like it's a vibe. Man are telling stories to portray, to give themselves the impression that this is how they are. And do you get what I mean? And it's like, I don't know. It's just a different type of time, innit? So I take everything I listen to with a bit of a pinch of salt, especially where I've seen certain artists, like we say, not naming any names, but I've seen certain artists 5 years ago. It's funny, one artist popped up on my Snap 5 years ago. Do you get me? And man was, you know what I mean? And you see him now, you listen to this artist now, you get me? You'd think he was he put in mad work. You get what I'm saying? But man saw him at a show 5 years ago, and it's not a long time. You get me? And he's a different youth. So it's just,
Some of them though, it is authentic though.
Some of them
are really doing it. But it's a reflection of how fucked up it is. It's not even over money. It's not even over nothing. It's man them are chinging over what? Because my man lives up the road. And that always went on, but now it's proper like murderous. You get it? Like it wouldn't get that murderous on a consistent basis. Like these youths are gonna murder the next youth on a weekly basis. If it comes down,
and then put out music
over
about
shit,
it,
and then rap about it, and put out a video.
So I'm selective what I listen to. That's the best way to put it. I only listen to
now
a
it's become like fragmented, like little estates, and you know, back in the day, I was saying to my man before that, you know, like Brixton. If you're from Stockwell, like you're from Brixton, innit? You know, in jail with a man, you might be from Stockwell, but he's in say I'm from Brixton, but now everyone wants their estate recognised. Like this is my block, this is my estate. I've noticed that.
Times have changed. So fragmented.
Like with the music thing, I only listen to certain artists, like certain 1 or 2 artists that
like who?
I'll fuck with, like K-Trap hard. I listen to K-Trap. Like obviously Tiny Boost, Gigs. I listen to the people that I know that I can relate to and I know what they're about. Do you get me? Like, and I know what they're on and stuff like that, and I can relate to their thing. Other than that, if I don't really know where you're from and you got a good tune and it's decent, alright, cool, it's fun, but I can't listen to it with that feeling of like I know what they're about in it. Do you get me? Sometimes you have to have that. I think I can't just listen to a rapper and just be like him telling me stories or whatever, and I don't really know whether it's whatever, especially when it's the UK.
You find out, innit?
Yeah, you find America is into
you don't know, innit?
It's whatever, we don't know. The America's wild, innit? Do you get me? Anywhere you go, it's crazy. But I think with the UK, I can only really fuck with people.
See, like from an Islamic point of view, for me, obviously, one of my weaknesses music, innit? But it's just that music there is completely forbidden. Music is forbidden generally, but you see that type of music where it's kind of like promoting certain things. Drug dealing, whatever, that's kind of like a peak issue. Because you know, in my religion, they have this thing called open sinning and sinning behind closed doors. There's a big difference between it. So, for example, with the alcohol thing, is one thing like us free. I don't drink, but I'm saying if we drank off camera, no one could see. It's still a sin, but it's within a certain boundary. But if we're drinking on camera, that in Islam now it changes the thing, innit? You know what I mean? So the same as like in music, if you're glorifying like and you've got your Ciroc bottle and them things there, you're going into a whole another spectrum. So what usually happens, and I think some of the scholars have spoken about it, that it could start with the music. The next thing you know, the music leads to an alcohol bottle. Alcohol bottle leads to weed. Weed leads to a chick. And you understand? You see this from artists sometimes, Muslim ones. Where if you watch their first music songs, they're not really that bad. But as they've evolved, it's got worse and worse and worse and worse. You understand? And I understand it's hard because the environment we live in is so normalized. So for example, when I travel in the Middle East, bro, I don't even see alcohol. In a lot of the countries I go to, I don't really see, apart from like Dubai obviously, but you go Saudi and places like that, you don't see alcohol on display like that. Man might have it in his cupboard or whatever, but see here it's just so in your face. You're just kind of like immune to it now, so it don't mean nothing. But yeah, so the music thing is like a massive issue in our religion. It's not something small, it's like a big thing. And so about a lot of people kind of like, you know, you see the rappers as well, they say, we know it's wrong and we're going to stop one day. And it was there because everyone's trying to get to that bag, innit?
Yeah.
I hear a lot of that we're going to stop one day from the rappers. You're right still. You're right. But listen, it's been a good one. It went how we said it was going to go. Going to bring it to a close now. Want to appreciate you coming down. It won't be the last conversation we have. Big up on everything that you're doing as well. Go and check out Hitz's page and see all the things that he's got going on. Go and see some of the stories. Tell stories in the car. You understand? He was one of the originals to do that still. You know, I do a few of them myself every now and then, you get me? Not too often, but big up Hitz. But yeah, large up every time, my bro. Respect for coming through. Big up Duggar every time. It's been another one. Winners Talking podcast. Glad to have you here. People, take this in. Listen to it all. Go back and listen to it again when it's done, because there's a lot of depth in this episode. I felt it. Yeah? We're gone. Stat!